I want you to meet this man named Will McLean. So I sat in a circle, a jam circle like you'll have out here at the fire, for a long time listening to all the musicians. And he was going around the circle, come to me. And Will says, well, young lady, what you got to share? I said, well, I don't play an instrument, I'm just a poet. He says, well, then poe for me. So I've been poeing for him for a while now. As a few of you might know, I was the one who ran the music festival poetry group over there at Will McLean for quite a few years. I think I see one of my ladies who competed in that one year. This gentleman here is Bob Zampa. I've known him since those days back in '69 when we played at a wonderful place in Pinellas Park called Beau Arts. And you get to play in the garden or you get to play in the music room. And he used to back me up. Well, it got to where it was so much fun that we went around a few coffee houses and colleges and had a good old time. Can't get a job doing that much anymore, unfortunately. And the poetry is so that it's really hard to put it to music. But anyway. Oh, there you go. We all know there's big money in poetry.
Old dollars.
You realize this is the first time I've said anything. I've never said one word.
That is true. He never has talked back at me once.
I couldn't resist. Never
Hey, you know.
all those years, all those tours, never said one word.
Well, what can I say?
I'm fired.
No, you're not. Couldn't fire this man for one. I'm not going to do this closer. My eyes are not as good as they used to be.
On a light?
It might be a good idea. And I want to turn this mic on so that I can have it on this side and it's not the way it is. That helps. That helps a lot. Now, can you hear me good? Okay. This one I'm going to start with is not one of the very earliest ones I wrote, but I wrote it when I was, during that period, my husband had died of problems from the Korean War, and my world changed. I came from being an ordinary mama and newspaper woman and all that kind of stuff to a rather wild life. I wrote this for a gentleman who walked me a ride one time. His name was Joe. To a straight Joe. Joe Riley, you say I am running. Well, maybe you're right, but it's just that I see things through an entirely different light. I'm always game to loosen. Of truth, I have no dread. So tell me why you think I'm running. Let me know what's in your head. To see Joe Riley, I hate to admit this, but I'd forgotten about you. Been so long free in my world of timeless space and recaptured taste that I'd forgotten you still exist out there in that other world of plastic food and papier-mâché existentialists, where nourishment for body or soul comes from paper bags and centerfolds. But you came on strong. Like Masters and Johnson would have been proud, and Kinsey would name you too. But I meant coffee, and that's all, when I let you take me home and told you of my plan to truck on out of here and get back to the land. You called it running. So I made coffee and I listened. I really did try to see it as you do, but I find those structures you have built entirely too restricting to my view. You see, to me, your security is a suffocating box, your face a clock timing every word, move, dream. I do not call it living, that assiduous moving like ants down there in the sand. Busy, 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 just working for the man. And what my future filled with open space for today makes more sense than retirement pay, and love is more than a tussle on a bucket seat. I really am sorry, Joe Riley, that your world has made you lonely, but my love is free when I decide, and for today I'll just have to say thank you for the ride, and wave as you continue on round that track you pace. You see, I think that it is you who runs, and Algernon and Charlie's little race. Some of these are going to be short, and if you don't clap right, then that's okay. You can clap at the end, that makes me happy too. This one, I think you've seen that lovely little plant over there that was planted for our friend Jack Kelly, one of Florida's most prolific and best songwriters, outside of my husband, of course. But Jack was one of the friends that we all had from the old days at Beaux Arts, and he was quite the ladies' man. This was written as I was working at a little stand on the side of the road selling strawberries and tomatoes, and he stops by for a minute. Friends for Jack Kelly. She offers her pinpoint to the pesky love bug. So unceremoniously had he landed, and soundless upon the pages. The fallen victim of a breeze's pranks. And now there he lies, helpless upon his winged back, trapped between the lines she wrote, of man, of woman, of love, of hope. So she offers her pinpoint. Without hesitating, he climbs aboard to pause, not even long enough to utter thanks. He wings away to join his fate among the flowers. But she does not mind his lack of gratitude. They were friends, and after all, the average lifespan of a love bug is 48 hours. One of the poems that won me a couple of awards when I was submitting to awards was this one called Steppenwolf Bitch. This is the one that I actually read for Will McLean. Here in this den, Henry Haller, you would feel at home amidst the books and clippings. Dylan languishes with the doors there against the bard's collection, while straw flowers and cracked vase share dusty veils with Dostoevsky. And o'er all, in mass profusion, papers, typed pages, scattered stages of this poet's courtesan. I sit in my chair entrapped, my hands obedient to lettered keys. I pray for release from this relentless driving, this constant pacing, the roaming of the steps through two worlds of poetry and prose that I call existence. I ponder, will I ever find the open door to love, or is it for eternity the plight of this Steppenwolf bitch to grope forever in an incongruous world? On the shelf, there beside the tintype of a ne'er-known mother, the clock, as old as she would be, engages in noisy defiance to an ebbing sanity, enrages by its maddening horror, it grinds away at time, like a lawnmower's tiresome drone, cutting its way through yet another today. And now, the little hand just past the 50, the big one fast approaching 10 o'clock. Tired Hermine stares through dirty windows, wonders where the next trick, or rather why the game, lights a twist end of the suicidal hymn. A little short one that I didn't say I was going to do, but it's called Man. Turn your back on me. To Calvin I offered my life, became his wife, but God had other plans. To Stu I gave time, but in his typical Capricorn procrastination he ran out. Bill, the macrobiotic king, I offered a rhyme which he never read. Silence speaks louder than words, he said. Mario, my heart, but he had to fly and we had to part. To Ben, I gave the truth, but he demanded proof. And for Dickie, I made a shirt, which he never would wear, because he was afraid it just might expose his red neck, even under the length of his hair. I've stopped searching for a man willing to take all that I have to give. I think we'll all know this next one. November the 8th, 1972. One of those elections. That time it was tricky-dicky. Where were you, my friends? I rode my bike and counted on you. We're in this alike, but you did not come to quell the avalanche, the swell that will bury us all. A landslide, they called it. The enemy was there, in colors true, red, white, and blue, to re-elect their man, or rather, to crown him king. And in my ears this truth must ring for 4 more years of devil's disguise. Peace, it's called, built on lies. My friend, these people wrapped in flags care not for your simple world. They despise your rags. One time, you like that one? It's nice to see a guy sitting out there and actually listening. Two of you, whoa, well, my husband too. Now that one over there, we've been together over 24 years and we haven't killed each other yet. This morning could have been one of those days though.
Divorce, never. Murder, yes.
Well, divorce if you put up that awning on that trailer. This one is one of my favorites, and it has been given a few awards and printed a few places. Lady of the River. I had to get away. Life had caught me in its rushing. My head was in a bad way. So I took myself to Goshen, out to Adam's land. Had a date there with a lady, needed the touch of her cool hand. Lady, blue-eyed lady, gentle lady of the river. Come and sit beside me, let me talk to you. I'll tell you where I've been and where I'm going to. But she smiled as she took me by the hand. Peace, my child. It's not important where you think you're going or where you might have been. All of that means nothing except for passing time and a few short lines that rhyme. All that really matters is here and now. Sit down here beside me and linger for a while. Just sit down here beside me and linger for a while. As we sat on the root of some ancient oak, laid bare by her ever-changing mood, my head her gentle hand did stroke, and I began to let it all go. She took me to the water. She taught me how to play. And I became a child again and washed my cares away. She took me to the water. She taught me how to play. There was a place we used to hang out, Beau Arts. I think I mentioned it a few minutes ago. They had a music green room like we've established over here, where you went in and you sat down and you practiced and you worked with your partner and said, well, okay, what you going to do next? There was a picture up on the wall. It was a very old picture, and I understand since Tommy died, it's in a funeral home now. Did you hear that one, Rona? Yeah, they bought it. But I called her my Beau's Lady of Orpheus. And it's for Thomas Bruce Reese, the wonderful old hippie that brought us all in a lot of great Friday nights.
She was framed and hung.
She was framed and hung, you sure was. Yeah. You do take all the seriousness out of things, don't you? This guy's always got me in stitches. Mystic lady with eyes so deep, stare intently from that cracked and dirty wall you keep, as you watch this butterfly out of time paint her windowed world in rhyme. Enchantress, you hover there just long enough to share in the birth of some new song, while guitar man, absorbed in finger stroke, hears not the rustle of your faded cloak. Donning the colors of your art-lined walls, you roam unnoticed about those winding halls, Mysterious lady with eyes so dark, and creative souls invoke your magic mark. Hastening off to hide in the garden night amongst the ferns and fronds and subtle light, you watch there from that Orphic throne as worshippers crown your head in stone. Twice at sea you may appear, or with chilly breath whisper, yes, I am near. Good old days when before I moved up to Gainesville. Many years later when I came back, there wasn't that many, for a few days to Clearwater, I took a trip over to my friend's house that used to hang out with us at Bose on Stevenson's Creek in Clearwater. And this is what I saw that day. At sunset, I took myself down to the bay, down to where if I had been a good girl that day, my daddy would let me go fishing with him at eventide. Perched on the bow of that weathered skiff, I was queen of the sea, and he my willing oarsman. Sometimes I would leave the boat and scamper on the sandy banks, chasing fiddler crabs and gabbing with pelicans. And as Dad would lay the net, I might secretly pray that Mr. Mullet would escape just one more day. Today, I look upon the spot where once minnow fed among the mangrove root, and seabirds whispered tales of pirates and treasures golden. Today I see only muddy silt and an old boot from its mate parted, beside a tire and a hobby horse. Dream of some other child discarded. Pick up your litter, folks. We don't want that to be the truth everywhere. My book, which I have on Smashwords, and this, I love the cover, and even though it's falling to pieces, I still carry it around to read from. This was the song that made the title, Butterfly Lessons, or the short verse. You're not quite ready for love, my dear. A butterfly whispers in my ear as he allows me to watch him move among the flowers, regal in his orange and black majesty. I will return, he says, as he spurns my advance. Shows me that romance must wait until the day he lights upon my head, and shows me a heart ready. But at least today he let me see. We all have kids now. In fact, I'm now a great-grandmother for the 8th time. These were written when my girls were young, and I was living on Tarpon Springs on a little bay canal they put in so rich people can have houses on the water. And these two poems come from that day. First one is Castanetic Communion. Pinfish, are you scout for mullet wise by my mercy swimming free, while I warn him that I on seawalls eel with net furled to cast? When after enmeshing you only twice and once your cousin perch, I at last hang the net, hose it down, turn to give the roses a welcome drink. From behind me, just a breath away, comes his mocking splash. We can too. Aha, tricky mullet, I gotcha. Net forms a perfect circle on the water, just as you swim by. Today your friend was not around to warn you. You're caught beneath. I'm sorry, big bull mullet, but I have no intention of being merciful, of sending you back to swim again. You're big. Bigger than I had ever thought my first catch in my new home would be. And I grilled you and it will be a mighty satisfying dinner.
Yeah, I read that.
As the grandkids watch in awe, I perform the ritual. I cut off your head, still the jumping forever, gut you and show them what is inside. Some will probably call it barbaric. They who thinks all food comes from saran wrap under styrofoam trays, but I think it's only responsible to show the kids the truth. If they are to eat the flesh, they should be willing to witness the killing. This one happened right after its grandma lessons. She cuts off the head, scales, and guts the fish they've watched her net. Now we'll put this in the crab trap, she says. Crabs like to eat fish, says Michael, who hasn't missed a stroke of her silver blade as he holds it. She's so proudly waiting for the day he'll be big enough to play this game. I like to eat fish, chimes in AJ, the youngest. He's watching the oysters that cling to the seawall squirt. Mikey, they got water pistols, he exclaims. Yes, Grandma answers Michael's question as she places the entrails into the metal frame. Crabs come into the trap to eat the fish, and then they get caught, asks the oldest, Catherine, lowering the trap back into the water. Yes, Grandma answers. And then we eat 'em, AJ pipes up again. Now he's lying on the boards, peering through cracks, scrutinizing water bugs that move among the barnacles. Daddy loves crabs in his spaghetti sauce, Michael says, as he watches her sheath the knife. This game over, they run off to chase Jake, the heron, who has landed, curious about the goings-on. She tosses him the gizzard. There are no squeamish notions, no reactions. It is simple, just the natural order of things. I think we're going to have to skip a few because it looks like it's getting almost time for me to close. Okay. You want more? I'll do some around the circle tonight. I told you about Calvin's dying and my world changing in 1969. This is Calvin's story. You might be interested in knowing about a little more from the Korean War. On CNN recently, I heard that a doctor has found relief for Desert Storm vets suffering a strange malady, headaches, sleep disorders, weight loss, chronic fatigue. The symptoms that I remember you suffering, Calvin, from Uncle Sam's Korean encounter. Yes, I remember too well your suffering, your desperate attempts to hang on to your dignity while the army doctors spent their energies convincing you that you were crazy, insisting that your headaches were mental and your fatigue a character fault. I remember how they got you high and kept you there on morphine until you defied them with cold turkey to shake that monkey off your back. Next, they introduced you to Demerol, but again, you fought back. So they substituted the latest wonder drug, Alwyn, assuring you that it was not addicting. By then, tormented with pain, there was no fight left. You were quiet, doped and pacified by disability pay. And I remember your story. The story about the time, years after your discharge, when the government summoned you and put you up in a fancy hotel, sequestered you there for a checkup. You told me later of your first night. There in the hotel bar over scotch and soda, you saw a face. He looked so damn familiar, you recounted, but something was wrong. The other face stared back at you, mirror facing mirror, the same question in his eyes until moments later, a few words exchanged, you both realized, my God, we served together. Together you looked around the bar. Assembled in that city on command, you reminisced through the night to the buddies. Each recounted his own mustering for some physical or mental malady, compared your discharge dates, played catch-up, each describing symptoms, becoming thinner and thinner, excruciating headaches being shakier and shakier, degenerating day by day. You kidded about being just a bunch of grunts pulled from the infantry unit stateside playing war games. You served together only temporarily. A special volunteer company assigned to handle ill soldiers returned from Korea. None of you ever touched that foreign shore. You joked about the tests that were to come, called yourself a culture under the slides of the man's microscope. Within 5 years of this meeting, you were gone. Pancreatic cancer, it was called. I do not know what happened to the others. No one would listen when I told your story, though your army psychiatrist did admit to me that he was not confident this recollection was merely an illusion fashioned by a schizophrenic mind, but he was up for retirement, had no stomach for the consequence of pursuing it. And I, a young widow with 3 daughters to raise, had no money to fight. Life went on. I was left with nothing but a flag. I gave it to your mother. Thank you very much, folks. I hope you enjoyed a real break from music for a while, because I got this one for this man enjoyment.
Betsy Paulet.
Betsy Paulet. Give my daddy a credit. He only had me and he died. World War II.
Betsy Paulet. Hey.